of these resin charms. I'll show you how I add little eye hooks, how I dome the back of my charms like this. I'll also show you how I made these large pastel pieces here. So let's jump into it. Starting with what you need, this is the resin that I use here. It's called Amazing Clear Cast. You will need a measuring cup, plus any additional cups for mixing different colors. Something to mix your resin with. This is a little bit of scrap wobbler that I'm actually reusing to mix some resin. You can see that it almost looks wet and shiny on the top. That's just set resin from last time around. I use acrylic paint for coloring my resin. Now you can see that I have a mix of different brands here. They all work as good as each other really. Just make sure not to add too much coloring, otherwise your resin won't set properly. Craft glitter if you wish to add some, and some plastic gloves. You can see up close how the resin looks quite cloudy and streaky at the moment. This is because the two parts are still coming together, so you want to continue mixing it until it is totally crystal clear. So here's my resin fully mixed. So you can see that it is kind of clear. So aside from the air bubbles that are in there, as well as some kind of particles, you might be able to see it, I'm not sure, but it's because my resin's super old. It's got some floaties, I suppose. But aside from those things, it is clear, which means that it is fully mixed together. So what we're going to do to remove some of those air bubbles is to let it sit and do nothing for say 5 to 8 minutes, and that's just so that all the air bubbles can rise up to the top. Great, so now all of the air bubbles have risen to the top, so we need to pop those. Now the way I do that is with a heat gun. However, you can use a hairdryer or even a straw and just blow air through it kind of thing. It's just that the warm air is going to pop all of those air bubbles on top. A tip when using a hairdryer or either a heat gun like me, make sure to turn it on facing away from your resin so that any dust sitting on the element will get blown out of the way first, and then move it over your resin to pop the air bubbles. Now this is just so the dust obviously doesn't get stuck inside of your resin. Lightly tap your resin on the table to help more air bubbles rise to the top. Now I'm going to pour all of my clear pieces. Use a toothpick or any other pointed tool to help get the resin into all of the little nooks and crannies of your molds. I'm just going to add some glitter to the back of my larger resin pieces now. I've let these sit for around 10 to 15 minutes so that they become tacky on the back. Now this is so that the glitter is going to stay on the back of the charms and not seep forward through to the front. I'm going to turn this gummy bear into an earring. So I have some blank earring studs. You can just get these from craft stores. Now it's been maybe half an hour or so since I've poured the resin. Press it in and leave it to set overnight. It's been about 20 hours since I poured these resin charms, which means some of them are going to be ready to add eyelets. So here's one I just did a tester on, and you can see I've added this little hook on the top so I can turn it into jewelry. So you want to do this before your charms are fully cured or fully set. The resin needs to still be a little bit squishy to be able to get this little eye hook thing into it. When doing this, do be careful not to bend your charms out of shape. Since they are still slightly soft, they will bend easily, or you will leave fingerprints on them. So do be very fragile with them at this stage. Here are the wee eyelets that I use. If you can see them, they do have kind of a little screw end. So that means when I twist it in, it's less likely to be yanked out. The way I add the eyelets is first I'm going to make a wee hole with a pin. I just use a safety pin, you can use whatever. Now this is a good example of how flexible my charms are at the moment. So I hope you can see, I'm just ever so slightly kind of bending it. Now this is still going to need a back coating just to get rid of that sharp lip. If you have screw eyelets like I do, you don't need to really apply much pressure. Just twisting the resin charm will naturally bring the screw into the charm itself. So for this one, I'm adding one on either side because I want it to be a cute choker. To flood the back of these charms, I'm going to be making up 3 different colors. I'm going to do pink, blue, and yellow. Now that my colors have been mixed up, I'm ready to start flooding the back of these charms. Now, you want to use very little resin. You don't need very much at all. Alright guys, so this is how my charms have turned out. It has been about 24 hours since you saw them last. I am so super happy with how these large resin charms here turned out. You can never tell how the pattern's going to look until the very last moment when you flip it over, so I was very pleased to see how they came out. I think they look super cute. I will definitely be using these for an upcoming Decoden video. This is how the backs of those charms look, which is also very cute. I quite like the backs too. I really adore these little strawberries. I'll use them as keychain or even earrings actually. And so the back of these I ended up doming with a blue. I'm excited to wear this as a choker. I'll probably wear it for my next Lolita coordinate. This is how one of my little gaming controllers turned out. Now, unfortunately, this controller here, which you would have seen me make, now when I domed the back, it spilled forward to the front. So this is how the back looks here, which is still quite cute, but unfortunately, as you can see, it's kind of spilled over the edge and ruined it, really. I probably won't use this. That is the thing with resin, you know, it takes a long time, and if you screw up at a certain point in the process, you kind of have to scrap the whole thing, I guess. So it's a fun hobby, but it's definitely a bit fiddly and can be frustrating. Alright guys, so that is everything for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope that you took something away from this tutorial and you might be able to apply it to your own resin casting, or hopefully be inspired to start resin casting for the first time if you haven't yet. But otherwise, I suppose I'll see you in my next video. Bye!